You can still talk about sex when you do stand up, but you have to be a bit more specific. You can't just be Roy Chubby Brown, just say cool.
News. London Transport say they may have to close the underground system due to an infestation of horses.
Loads of horses, at least 30 I'd say. As the train approaches, they start running away from the train.
And what the drivers say they fear most of all is a head-on collision with a blind tube man.
What's up, YouTube? Hello, it's me. I'm back with Jeff Innocent. This is going to be the last part. It's going to be a long video, so I will crack on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, and share, Sonny and share, and leave a comment below and all that lovely stuff. We will dive straight into Jeff Innocent, Smart Casual, last part coming up for your delectation right now. Let's dive in.
And I have to say, and I don't really know how to reveal this, but I've got a few kids, they're all fucking boring. I know, none of them drink, none of them take drugs. Where have I gone wrong? And I think what's happened is they've rebelled. You know, kids rebel against their parents' culture. That's all right if your parents are conservative, straight and boring. They've rebelled against my having it large culture. Yeah. So you know at Christmas when you get a bit of cocaine in, right? Even if I haven't had any throughout the year, get a little bit at Christmas. It's like a family tradition now. Get a bit of Boutros in, as we call it, Boutros Ghali, Charlie. So at Christmas, my kids come round, they're all grown up, they bring their kids, I'm the granddad. I have to go into the bathroom of my own fucking house to do my Charlie in secret. But last year, even I thought I might be getting a bit too old for this shit. I looked down, I was actually chopping up my Charlie with my senior citizens rail card. I know. You see how boring my kids.
He's even older than me.
One of my daughters, she's fantastic. You know, I don't know, you have ideas, you have hopes and dreams for your kids, and they don't always see them through. I wanted her to be in a band, or be a sort of punk poet, or run a left-wing bookshop. She's in digital fucking marketing. But this is how boring she is. She phoned me up, this was during lockdown actually, so she was a bit younger, and she brought up the subject of drugs, and she went, Dad, I went, yeah, she went, you know cocaine? I went, of course I do, my darling. Why do you think you've always lived in rented accommodation? And she said, what's it like? What do you mean? What's it like? She went, when you take it, how does it make you feel? I went, no, I know what what's it like means. What I don't understand is why someone in their 20s is asking someone in their 60s what cocaine's like. I've got to tell you, my darling, you've turned out to be a real fucking disappointment. I still get, when I fly, which is rare these days, I still get the random search, right? Which is obviously drug-related at my age.
I got a random search last time we went away to, where was it? France? No, it was, Uganda. When we went to Uganda. We were going through Istanbul airport on our connection, and the woman I checked in, she put a little blue sticker on my passport. I didn't realise that meant this guy looks like a drug dealer. And they searched my bag. Funnily enough, so they searched it, they do all these little, they wipe a thing over to see if there's any drugs, and they put it in a machine and it goes beep, and it goes, no, he's clean. And when the guy finished, he gave me back my bag, and I said, oh, thank you very much. And he laughed. He laughed and said, oh, thank you very much. It's just being polite. I mean, he's only doing his job. I didn't want to make it worse by saying, you fucking airline security bastard. So yeah, there you go. That's my little story.
Now, For example, fairly recently I went to South Africa to do the Cape Town Comedy Festival. Very privileged, only white acts on. It was absolutely a brilliant experience. Although I have to say, a little bit tricky for me going to South Africa. And you can laugh at me rather than with me on this one, because I am still boycotting South African products because of apartheid. I bet there's people in here that don't even know what apartheid is. It was that long ago. And I think what it is I'm one of these people that hold on to my political
Free Nelson Mandela.
grudges. I think a lot of old people do that. No matter how outdated or unfashionable they become, you're still there. That's who I am. That's what I believe in. And my kids laugh at me, and I get that. But I think what's happened is I've turned into a modern version of my granddad. And I'm sure some of you remember this generation of British boycotters. He refused to buy Japanese stuff because of what happened to our lads during the war. And we laughed at him. But he kept it up till the day he died, which was in the late 1970s, which meant he had fuck all in his house. No fridge, no radio, no television. I doubt he even had the means to know the war had ended, the silly old sod. Then here I am doing exactly the same thing. But you know, when you're white and English, how far back do you go with this stuff? What? Croissants after 1066? I'm not going to IKEA till the Vikings say they're fucking sorry. So I got the random search twice. That's not random, is it? You get it on the way there, you get it on the way back. That's not fucking random. And it's very difficult when you're older. You know, be prepared for this. People on authority, they're all younger than you. You can't even take them seriously. He's pulled me over. I have to go through the process. I've done it so many times. And he looked at me and he went, "Did you know, sir, that it's illegal to bring drugs and firearms into the country?" Who in here doesn't fucking know that, right? I thought, why is he speaking to me like I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile? So I went, fucking hell! It's illegal now, is it? This must be the Brexit thing kicking in. I think you should put a sign up for something as important as that. Now you've fucked up all my gift ideas. Then he brought out the drug sniffer dog. Now, I've never been sniffed up by a drug sniffer dog in my...
I've got another story. God, why is it always me? We went to Amsterdam and we all smoked some weed. Who would have guessed it? And, of course, me being an idiot, I was the last one to smoke some weed just before we left the hotel, before I washed my hands or had a shower. I'd already had a shower. And as we came off the plane, the dog came along the line of us and sniffed my hand. I laughed. Ooh, the dog touched my hand. Of course, not knowing that had marked me out as a drug dealer. And we got through the passport checks and I was just about to get out into the departure lounge. And I got called in, and the funny thing was I had an eye condition, and I had to have bicarbonate of soda. So I had a little glass bottle full of bicarbonate of soda, which had broken in my wash bag. So as he unzipped my wash bag, there was all this white powder inside. I actually laughed, and of course he knew that wasn't cocaine or whatever, but it did cause some hilarity, and it was fine, and he was very nice actually. I'm always very polite with these people, and he said, "Oh no, don't worry," he said, "if there's a few crumbs of something in there, we don't get upset." But, of weed anyway, not of cocaine, obviously. And, I went about my way. It's probably the nicest cavity search I've ever had.
My life, given my previous lifestyle, comes as a bit of a surprise. So I thought, this is going to be good. And immediately, I looked at the dog and I thought, wow, when I was younger, and maybe got up to a little bit of mischief, I always thought if ever I was going to get nicked by a dog, it'd be a German Shepherd. There's no shame in that, is there? Cocker fucking spaniel. How humiliating would that be to be nicked by your nan's dog, basically? But then I had a brainwave. I thought, hold on a minute, drug sniffer dog, what a great pet that would make. You'd never lose your drugs ever again. And you'd always know where to buy drugs, just take your dog for a walk. Although on a sadder note, when they finish their careers and end up in Battersea Dogs Home, do you think all the other dogs in there treat them like grasses and nonces in the nick? Because they work for the old bill, don't they? Hey, the fucking Rottweilers want to see you later, mate, all right?
They'll find broken glass in their bonio.
I was just going to say my drug of choice has changed, but now it's a drug of necessity. Painkillers. I don't know if I'm the only one. Most people I know that are over 50, certainly over 60, are on painkillers now because they're suffering from what my doctor calls, and I've got to tell you, this pisses me off, wear and tear. Wear and tear. It's a bit generic, isn't it? I want something with a Latin name, don't you? I said, can we call it Wearers Terrors? It sounds more serious, isn't it? So I wake up in the morning with me Wearers Terrors, as I'm sure one or two of you do, and I found a cup of coffee, a couple of painkillers, just takes the edge off the day. But it's actually harder to get painkillers than cocaine. What kind of world are we living in? Cocaine, 30 minutes on the phone. Painkillers, they ask you lots of questions before they hand it over, don't they? You wouldn't get a cocaine dealer doing that, would you? Are you on any other medication? When they do that in chemists now, I've started going, of course I am. What do you think I am, a fucking lightweight? Do you operate heavy machinery? I went, do I sound like a northerner to you? Yeah, I'm in my lunch break, mate. I've got to get back on the spinning jenny in 5 minutes. I'm from London, we've got fucking computers now. Why are you asking me these questions? And they went, well, here's the thing, so after 3 days of taking these painkillers, you could become addicted. And I thought, who would look at my face and think, that bloke needs advice on drugs and firearms? I said, don't worry about me. I must have been part of every youth culture, every drug-related youth culture since the late 1960s. I must have sampled every drug we've all ever heard of. You tell him it's going to be now, then, at my age, after 3 days of taking Nurofen, that's going to be the thing, is it, that finally and eventually pushes me over the fucking edge, put me wife on the game to feed me habits, sell me blonde kids to Romanian gypsies, yeah. It was all going all right, so they brought that Nurofen Plus out. That's what fucked me right up. So what this means, of course, is now the NHS are my dealers. And I worry about the NHS. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room who worries about the NHS. And I wanted it to be, like they said, cradle to the grave, and I'm getting near to the grave, and I'm worried that they're still going to be there. And of course, the problem is, as we all know, the waiting list. I'm thinking, right, the waiting list, they're very big. Maybe there's people on those waiting lists that shouldn't be there. I thought my brother Terry shouldn't be there. Well, my brother Terry, right, is a conspiracy theorist. I know, when it happens in the family, you think, oh no, not you as well. Like they've joined a cult.
I've got a brother who's a conspiracy theorist. He's not called Terry, though.
Isn't it? And during lockdown, he was going all day long, NHS, they're all in on the conspiracy. He doesn't trust medical science. It's all made up. You don't need to wear masks, there's no COVID. And can I just tell you, he's not a leading consultant from the London School of Tropical Diseases. He's a scaffolder. Does a bit of cage fighting, works on the door at weekends. Suddenly, he's an expert on fucking medical science. So I wondered if people like Terry, who don't trust the NHS, I don't think they should be on the NHS. I think they feel uncomfortable in the NHS. I think they should have their own NHS. I think we should have a 2-tier NHS. Terry's one, here's the beauty, no science. They'll have nothing to worry about. No penicillin, no x-rays, no vaccines. Here's a bottle of whiskey. What's that for? We're sawing your leg off on Wednesday. You're in the David Icke ward. And it can be staffed exclusively by people who, like Terry, have absolutely no medical experience whatsoever. So that might bring the waiting list down a little bit, but not enough. I wonder if religious people could do us a favour. Well, I don't know if religious people need the NHS, do they? They've got their own private healthcare plan. They are the original conspiracy theorists, aren't they? Yeah. They like science when it suits and when it doesn't, right? So I wonder if they could see it as charitable works, come off the NHS, get on the alternative one. You'd be doing us a big favour. Christians, obviously, I don't mean Muslims, I'm not fucking mad. Now I'm going to get a bit controversial with this shit, and I might split the room and lose a few people. People who watch Strictly Come Dancing. You're too far gone. There's no saving you. Especially if you call it Strictly, because you think that makes it sound more jazzy and culturally acceptable.
My wife watches Strictly Come Dancing, and by default, so do I. But we've got a system now where we fast forward through the Claudia Winkleman bits where she interviews them. That does shorten it. But my God, that programme goes on. It's about 4 hours, isn't it? On a fucking Saturday night. 4 hours of it. Endless. And now coming up, we'll be looking at the dancers and... fuck off.
No, it doesn't. Get on the new NHS. Do us a favour. I remember Strictly Come Dancing and the Great British Bake Off. They became programmes where the media got in on the old diversity bandwagon. Do you remember? On the Great British Bake Off, they had a Muslim lady baking a Victoria sponge cake, didn't they? They had the black lesbian boxer doing the Viennese waltz, remember? And I thought, that's not diversity. Getting black people to do white people's things, that's colonialism.
Cultural
To me, diversity would be to get white people to do black people's things. So instead of a programme like Who Do You Think You Are, you could have Where You From? No, Where You Really From? Where we could get a white person to stand there and justify their existence in this country by going through their entire fucking family tree. Immigrants in the Attic, that was one of my programme ideas. Stop and Search, where we see people like Nigel Farage being tasered outside Brixton Tube Station.
Taser him.
I'm going to talk about sex before I go. Really? I'm not going yet. It's a tricky subject. I think what's difficult is when you're an older person talking about sex to a younger audience, you know, and I usually leave sex to the younger comedians, actually, but invariably they rush the joke. Get to the punchline far too soon and you're left having to go home and amuse yourselves afterwards. Me and my wife, we met in the early 90s, right? And we spent, I couldn't really call it courting to be honest, but we spent a lot of our early days in the disabled toilets of nightclubs, taking cocaine and having sex. And in fact, I think that's the only way she can really enjoy sex now. Which is not a problem because I've converted the bathroom at home. With the help of one of my lesbian friends, turned it into a disabled toilet. All the details are there, big handle on the door, wooden ramp, that long rail against the wall. Do you know what they're called? I didn't know that, so I've only just found this out. Grab rails. Fucking sexy is that, eh? Red Emergency called. It's not going anywhere, but I think it's a nice attention to detail. And to totally capture that early 90s London nightclub authenticity, we get our son to bang on the door every now and again. But you're going to be long in there, there's people fucking waiting out here. That chips are right over the edge, that does. Although now I'm at an age where if I'm in a disabled toilet for too long, people knock on the door and go, are you all right in there? But the worst thing for young people is the idea of their parents having sex, isn't it? Particularly if you live at home. And in here who still lives at home, and I'm sure there's a few these days, the idea that your parents are having sex. But let me tell you this, we fuck. When you're out of the house, we fuck. In your beds. It's a hate crime for ruining our lives, that's what it is. Yeah. We watch porn on your laptop. We don't even clear your search history. We do Charlie on your fucking desk. Fuck you. But I still do have sex. But here's the thing with me now. I need a bit more notice than I used to when I was younger. I like a couple of weeks, a month, if possible. Get prepared, go to the gym, see the doctor. Place cushions strategically, and the older men will know this one, place large cushions strategically in the areas that I'm going to end up once cramp sets in, which is usually about a minute if I'm lucky. But I'm not that ambitious now. I mean, I'm not as athletic as I used to be with the wearers tearers. Can't really do that much now. I'm pretty much down to one position, which I think is safe, the standing from behind. You can't get into any trouble. You still do a lot of damage. I don't even know what said damage, sorry. Don't even know. Damage. I can't think of another word. Don't recall this bit. The problem is when you're older, here's a problem that I've found, is once you start having sex, if you've got any clothes on, they're on now. You can't take clothes off while you're having sex. When you're young, you can rip those clothes off as you're fucking, can't you? When you're old, they're staying on. Socks get left on a lot, I think. And you know, once you start having sex, you've got socks on, they're very difficult to take. You can't take them off mid-fuck, unless you're young.
I only just bother to undo my flies sometimes.
Young people look at me thinking, Jeff, I can take those socks off mid-fuck. And what you do, don't you? You put your foot in there, don't you? And sort of slip that one off. Foot in there, slip that one off. Whilst fucking, they don't even know it's happened behind them. Poetry. But I'm at an age now where I wouldn't want to risk that manoeuvre, do you know that? I rely on the old blokes leaning on walls for half an hour. Stay there, Vanessa, I won't be long. I reckon that almost every man in this audience at one point has rushed into sex, left their socks on, and within 30 seconds thought, I wish I'd taken these fucking socks off. Because it is treacherous, isn't it? Particularly if you're standing on a polished wooden floor. Or parquet, as we say in London, or if you're from the north, lino.
Lino? It's on the fucking lino.
And I think what happens, it's not exclusively a heterosexual experience, but I think what happens is, when the bloke's under pressure, he grabs hold of you. He grabs hold of the woman for purchase. But he doesn't let her know that's what's happening. He disguises it. He makes her, he's roughing her up a bit, but he's not. He's holding on for dear life. So the woman, yeah, or whoever, they're down there thinking, he's getting a bit fucking rough tonight, man, but you know what, I'm going to go with it. That's not what's happening at the other end. He's thinking, if I don't grab hold of something soon, I'm going down. Well, I'm going to show off a little bit here, but the last time I got into that situation, I'm going to tell you how rather ingeniously got myself out of that predicament. I wore me fucking Crocs. Put them in sports mode. Put a new twist on the old come as you are slogan. But they wouldn't accept the video review. I love you people, do you know that? Thank you so much for changing my life. I hope you had a good time. Woo. See you around, see you around. Love you to pieces. God bless.
Woo! So there you go, Jeff Innocence, a lovely man, and also very funny, which is important if you're a comedian. So thank you, thanks for watching. That is the last part of Jeff Innocent. I haven't had that many views, but I guess that's because Jeff isn't currently that popular. But hopefully he's going to make a big, I was going to say comeback, but not a comeback, a big splash in the world of comedy. Yeah, very good. He's very talented. I like the subject matter there, drugs and sort of old age and sex. You know, proving that you can still talk about sex when you do stand up, but you have to be a bit more specific. You can't just be Roy Chubby Brown, just say cunt and get a laugh that way. You have to actually talk about the specifics of sex and what exactly makes it funny, rather than, just you had a funny like a dog, like a fucking butcher's back bin. So very good. And drugs are bad for you, so don't do them, kids. I've had my run-in with drugs in the past. As Mitch Hedberg, the brilliant comedian, said, I used to do drugs, I used to, and I do too, which is one of my favourite jokes of his. Drugs are bad. I have had my run-ins, and thank God I got through that. But my kids, fortunately, are not boring. They do tons of drugs and get them for me, which is brilliant. One of the main reasons, really, to have children is so that you can turn them into your dealers. So thank you. I didn't mean that, obviously. And thank you for watching. And that's it. I'm going to go like, subscribe, hit the notification button, Sonny, and share. And it's been a pleasure. Jeff Innocent is wonderful. I'm signing off now. This is my Jeff Innocent last part. And only remains to say, don't nobody go nowhere.